It's being okay with both the yin and yang, dark and the light, and go, we're in both. We are both. We are powerful. At the same time, we can feel shameful. And that's okay. It's okay. It's only when we start to be okay with the shame that we feel internally that it has no more power over us. It's only when we feel like it's not okay that we always operate from the place of, I shouldn't feel that. Let me do anything possible to not feel that. Then we'll always operate from a place to not feel that instead of feeling like, oh, I can live freely and not just care about how to cover up my shame. When you're okay with shame being there, it's not darkness anymore. It's a balance, it's a friend, it's a being. And we're all that is. It's power when we're really able to embrace, accept, love, forgive, and really, really receive all parts of us, especially that part of us that's the darkest, that's the place that we hate the most, we want to run away from the most. That's when we'll be fully free, when we're able to embrace all of who we are. I just had one of the biggest spiritual breakthrough that I've had since the past 15 years of working on myself. I'm not saying that was the biggest, but one of the biggest. And I wanted to come up here while it's still fresh to share kind of the journey of that spiritual breakthrough that I had because I feel it's so important. We can really connect with each other on that level of that deep awareness. But we don't really talk about it because most of the time, most of us want to run away from it. But I felt it was so, so powerful and needed that I wanted to come up here to share that journey with you. And that being said, it's allowing me and helping me actually, this spiritual breakthrough that I just had this morning. It's literally stripping me away of all the identities that I've put on myself, whether it be consciously or unconsciously. Meaning that up until this point of my life, I have been taught, whether by parents, peers, teachers, mentors, or business coaches, to position yourself in a way that if you're a coach, position yourself in as if you're a coach. If you're a business owner, position yourself as a business owner. Position yourself in a way that's trustworthy and reliable, and that people want to work with you in a professional way. And don't get me wrong, I believe and I agree with a lot of those teachings actually. And I believe in some circumstances is definitely needed. But throughout the years, I've come to the realization that as much as I wanted to position myself in whatever way, like a part, it just somehow didn't feel natural for me, but I didn't know what else. It's like, oh, I've been a healer for 12, 13, 14, 15 years. So I should position myself in that way because I've been working on so many people in different way. I've been a coach, position myself that way, share from that identity. And it's not a always conscious thing. It's almost like so ingrained in us that because we are this or we're that, because I'm a mom, because I'm a teacher, because I'm a grandma, or because I'm a professional, because I am a coach, because I do help people with this, I've got to position myself in that way. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. It's just, it's never fully and completely sit well with me, but I didn't know what else until today. I had this major, major breakthrough, which I'm going to share with you later. That's literally helped me free from all the needs to be seen a certain way, to be seen as a somebody. And I've noticed it wasn't until I went through this whole breakthrough that I realized, wow, because I had been operating from this place of I needed to be seen as somebody. I needed to be positioning myself in a certain way. I needed to be sharing certain things from a sharing a certain energy that on an unconscious level, I'm actually pulling myself down, if that makes sense. And a lot of self-doubt will consciously or unconsciously surface up because I was operating from that energy and space. And now that I've cleared a lot of that away, I'm like, wow, I don't need any of that. And it's okay. For the first time in my life that I have feel this is the first time I feel so free from all the shoulds, all the needs, all the supposed to, all the things that I feel like I should do. To be honest, like I was just telling my husband, Jonathan, I said, I'm so exhausted after this big breakthrough. I literally felt like I had a, spiritual surgery. Really, it really felt that way. And I've noticed this shift and change in me is that before the big breakthrough today, I've noticed that every time if I don't look the way I want to, or I'm not feeling like high and passionate, if I'm not energetically feeling like I'm in alignment of what I want to talk about, or like I'm excited with what I'm talking about, if I'm not there yet, I almost don't want to show up. Almost a lot of times don't want to show up. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to be in front of the camera. I feel like I need to at least wash my hair and like then show up and record myself. But this time, like, you know what? I'm gonna show up as I am. Like my hair is all tied up, which is still okay. And I'm not feeling 100% perfect or like high or like, vibrant, but I feel so peaceful and a very peaceful, powerful feeling. Is that weird? Powerful, peaceful? Anyways, I don't even know if that makes sense, but I really feel very, very, very at peace within myself, regardless of how I look, how I feel, what other people would think or feel about what I'm about to share. I just want to come here and show up not as a coach, not as a person who has been doing this for 15 years, not the person who was like, oh, because I've done this and I learned this. So here you go, try it. Not, yes, I mean, try it if that was what's a call for you. But I think I'm talking about this in a way that I just want to show up as a voice, not as Bridget, not as the identity that I have learned to be for as long I've been alive, not carrying this. I wouldn't say mask. I won't say mask because I don't think I wear a mask when I get up here to talk about what I believe in and what I'm truly passionate about. But I'm looking for the words. I feel like it's really just identity that I feel like I need to match myself to, or a certain expectations that I need to feel myself. Like I'm stripping myself completely energetically, emotionally, and spiritually naked in front of this camera right now to share with you everything that I've been through just today. Maybe it's actually a long journey. I wouldn't say it's just today, but today was everything that I went through led to today's big breakthrough. Everything that I went through was needed. Um, uh, Realization, whether it be small or big, breakthrough, small or big. Today, I literally felt like I had such huge surgery spiritually, emotionally, that really freed me from a lot of shame that all of us, I don't want to say 100% of the beings on the planet Earth, I cannot say that, but I would assume it's 99.9999999% of us on the planet. We all share this kind of challenge deep within ourselves, but we don't really talk about because shame, the topic shame, is actually something that we've been consciously or unconsciously taught to avoid altogether, whether it's through let's cover it up with food, whether it's through let's hustle and grind and do more and be better so that we don't have to feel or recognize that we do feel shame. And whether you like to recognize that or not, a lot of us have been operating from that space. And before I actually officially get started, I kind of want to put it out there that you may possibly get triggered, and that's completely okay. And notice those triggers. And as weird as it may be, I want to say congratulations if you are being triggered by watching this video, because that means those triggers are ready to be looked at, to be resolved in some way, to be seen, to be known. So once you bring that to your awareness, that shame cannot hide away from you anymore. Shame likes to hide itself and pretend it's something else. And this is such a huge topic, and it is literally affecting so many of us on so many different level that a lot of us are not even aware of that only because we don't really talk about it. No one really talk about it. We talk a lot about success. We talk a lot about spiritual growth. We talk a lot about what is on the other side of once you work through all that. And I know a lot of people go through deep shit to get to that expansion and evolution. But this is the first time I'm really stripping myself away to talk about the one thing that a lot of people are afraid of to look at, which is shame. And if you at this point, if you're listening, okay, I'm gonna click away, scroll through something else. That's completely okay. You don't have to continue to watch this video, but if you feel there's a part of you that is curious and go, I wonder what she has got in store for me, then continue on because I trust that this video will go to whoever is ready to receive this information, this video as a reflection for them, whether it be a voice for them, a reminder for them, a reflection of, hey, what's possible for them. Or even it could just be as simple as planting the seed. It doesn't mean you have to go through what I just went through today. I trust that this video will go to whoever it may be and serve to those people however it's highest and best to serve them. And I let go of that. And today, I would tell you, I feel so happy to have this feeling because I didn't feel this way for a long time. And I think a lot of us, especially coaches and healers, we can relate to this. Is like when people come to us for help, it's almost like we don't want to be in control of something, but it's almost like we feel responsible of what people get from us. And that's completely okay. And it wasn't until today that I went through this whole healing of shame that I realized that need to control or that need for someone to truly benefit from what I have to offer actually came from this deep rooted feeling and emotion of shame that we never ever look at. And now some of you may be questioning what, like me wanting to help other people, what does that have anything to do with shame? Like, why would that be shame? If you're triggered that way, listen on. Maybe there's more for you, maybe for you to realize, maybe for you to connect the dots for yourself. And one more thing that I want to mention as you watch this video, you don't have to listen to everything that I say. Notice the parts that actually resonate with you and let go of the parts that don't. Listen to the parts that is grabbing your attention because your body will literally give you the cue and let go of the ones that are trying to fight and argue with each other in your mind. Allow the information to be received in the way that you feel ready to. It doesn't have to work magic for you, but it can. It doesn't have to work as a trigger for you, but if it does, it's okay. It doesn't have to shift the whole entire perspective for you, but it's a start. So allow this video to serve you however it needs to serve you at this very moment. And who knows, maybe sometime down the road, a year later, 2 years later, maybe even just 3 months later, you somehow remember this video again. Maybe there's just few things that I say in this video, you go, oh my gosh, now it makes complete and total sense because I'm experiencing that right now, or I'm having that realization right now. Or somehow you remember what I said a year later and it connects the dot for you. It is all okay. It is all perfect in its own divine timing. Trust the timing that the space, the universe has for you, that your soul has for you. This video is showing up in your life for a reason at the certain given time that you watch it. It's all perfect. So here it goes. So I'm actually currently in a space where it's not my home, it's not my house. And we're actually in a transition period where we're not sure where we want to go next. We don't have that clarity yet. At the same time, I don't feel like I can force that clarity to come out. I just know I need to be here at this moment, but a lot of parts of me don't want to be here. At the same time, I feel like it's needed for me. It's divine for me. It's for a reason. And so while being here in this house that's not mine, I have been taking the time and taking all the triggers as an advantage for me to work through a lot of deep, deep shit that's been coming up, those resistance of being here, those needs of wanting to go into the future to know where the hell am I supposed to go, what am I supposed to do with my life, when are we gonna have our own home, where, how, because to have our own new home again, it's literally starting all over again since about a year and a half ago. As when we decided to let go almost everything that we owned, to move to La Paz, Baja California. And so we literally let go of all of our furniture. I went through a whole purge of items that I've carry with me since my childhood. A lot of things that I deem valuable, emotionally valuable to me. I had to let a lot of those go. It literally was like a purge for me. And so we have no furnitures. We mostly the things that we have, everything we own can fit into a van. And that's all the stuff we have. No furnitures, no big items. So literally to start to find a new home, we have to start all over again. And so at this point, like on a cautious logical level, I don't know how that's going to happen just yet. I don't know where, I don't know when, and so the part of me that's like wanting to know was like freaking out. And so I'm taking the time to really figure myself out, to be with those freak out moments, to be with those feelings, those resistance, those feelings of I don't want to be here or it's okay to be here, but at the same time I want to get out of here. Like, it's constantly just like that, and today was one of those moments. I actually woke up not feeling so good. And I thought it was maybe it's because my period was coming. I don't know. But I just know, oh, that moment of not wanting to be here is here again. And I'm like, okay, until I am fully and completely just neutral about where the fuck I am. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm here, I'm in Europe. Like, it doesn't matter where. It is my dream place. Like, neutral being neutral is freedom. If I'm super duper happy, it's okay, enjoy it, acknowledge it, but comes an attachment to that happiness. If I super duper don't want to be here, that's a huge resistance in where I am right now. And so the goal for me, and I feel to the path of enlightenment, to awakening, to connect to my truest, highest self is neutrality, is being okay with both the darkness and the light, to be okay with the good and the bad. And so if I sense that I have this resistance of being here, I know I'm not done processing what needs to come out, what is available here for me to look at. And so this morning I decided to journal about it. and go just, literally just venting out whatever was coming to me. And I realized what I was saying was just like I just want a home. I want my home to be like this. I want my home to be like that. And I started describing basically my guide was working with me. My guide was asking, how does a home feel like? Like your home feel like home, my home. And I started describing it, this and that. And then as I was describing it, I was also walking around trying to make some breakfast. And all of a sudden I had this thought, maybe the home that I'm describing is not so much a place, but more of a state of mind. And I go, wow. But if you think about it, that is true. When you have that state of mind of peace, no matter what's going on externally outside of you, you'll always have that peace. But if you continuously attaching our peace to the outside circumstances, we will never be able to reach to the true peace that we truly want to experience. It's almost like, oh, only when I have X amount of money, then I'll feel at peace or relaxed. Only if I have this relationship, this kind of man, then I will feel peaceful and relaxed. Only if I just get out of here, have my own home, then I will feel truly peaceful and relaxed. Then that's continuously putting my power to something outside of me to go, only if this happened, then I will be. Then that will never be the true peace. Even if I get it, I will still not. I will always find the next thing to go, oh, if I have that, oh, then if I have that, then I will, right? So I was thinking, no, it's not about where I am. It's about I don't have that state of mind of peace. That's why no matter where I go, I will always find faults. And I would look back to my life and go, you know what? That is true. Like we've moved to so many different places. And every place we go, I always had this feeling that we are not going to stay there for long. I don't know why. I mean, I didn't know why. Now I probably know because I have all this like thing I didn't process. And so I'm like, oh wow. So it's not about the place. I've been to a place where I really, really, really enjoyed and loved being, but I also knew that wasn't my home. And then I lived in a very, very nice house and also it didn't feel like my home. I never really felt home, no matter where I go. So I was being asked the question, when was the first time you felt like you didn't have a home? It almost feels like even though I always have a home, but I always had this homelessness feeling, this feeling of I don't belong. I'm not supposed to be here. It's not really my home. I don't know if that makes sense. And so I'm being asked the question, when was the first time that you felt like you didn't have a home when was the first time that you felt like homeless, not physically homeless, but emotionally homeless? And I thought about, oh, maybe it's the first time that I moved away from home because I used to live with my mom and my brother. And when I met my husband, I moved out when I was about 24, 25. And I remember that transition was a little bit tough for me because I had never moved away from my mom, learning to be an adult. That was my first time being in adulthood, moving away from home. And I remember I went through a lot of emotional challenges, not knowing that that was what's going on, and didn't fully graduate from that phase of I was always being with mommy. Now I'm sort of being adulthood, trying to figure my life out. That transition, no one ever taught me how to transition from here to there. And my first thought will be, oh, maybe that's it. But I'm like, no, something feels like there's something deeper. And somehow I thought of when I first came to America when I was 12. That was the time where my parents got separated or divorced for the second time. And I had always lived in Taiwan up to when I was 12 years old, when my mom brought us into the United States. And so basically, Taiwan was my home. And somehow my subconscious, my body reminded me that around 12 years old, when I came to America, is when I felt homeless emotionally. Even though I had home, I have family around me. I have a lot of people who love me, my aunts, my grandparents, my mom, my brother. I was with family. I shouldn't feel homeless. But at the same time, there was a part of me that needed to be recognized. It's not that I was homeless, but I was being reminded there's a lot of sadness and grief that I had as a child where I lost everything. I lost my home, and that home was Taiwan, which was all I knew as a 12-year-old because I grew up there. I had friends there. That was the language that I spoke. That's what I was familiar with. That's all I knew. And I was being brought to America. I knew nothing, even though I had my family, but I didn't really grow up with them. It was, I loved them. I still love them. But at the same time, there was a part of me that had grief. And I didn't know. As a child, you wouldn't think a child would think that she lost everything. But that's the thing. Every single one of us, no matter what stage, we have our own emotional turbulence that a lot of times are not being recognized or being known at all. I didn't know as a child. I didn't know I had a grief. I didn't know I perceived that as I lost a home. Until now, knowing everything that I know, looking back, I realized, holy shit, I did lose my home. My parents got divorced. I moved to a new country. I don't know the language. I lost all my friends. I lost everything that I was familiar with. And I had learned to toughen it up. So I wasn't even aware I was having those emotions at the time. And this is why a lot of children, when there's family stuff going on at home, when there's different shift and changes happening at home, when parents get divorced or they move to a different place, they do have those emotional turbulence that they need to transition. They need to readjust themselves. And a lot of time we don't recognize how big of a deal that is to a child. And so I had to allow myself to recognize I had lost everything, to acknowledge that, even though on some logical sense, it doesn't make sense because I still have my family. But regardless, it's not either or. It is all. I can have my family at the same time feel loss, all the loss and grief. And so I was allowing myself to recognize those emotions that I never knew to look at. I was allowing myself to feel the grief, to feel the sadness, allow that inner child to really cry it out and go, I lost my dad. I lost my family. I lost my friends. I lost all the good things that I put in my house, but I couldn't bring with me. All of that. And as I was going through losing everything, I remember when I was watching a Chinese TV show, they were talking about, you know, business. It was actually a drama show, actually. And there was a quote in there that says, in order for you to learn how to win, you've got to learn how to lose first. And so I was thinking, interesting. I feel like I lost everything. My family, my home was falling apart. Could it be possible that I actually have to allow myself to fully and completely fall apart before I can rebuild myself? Because it may be possible that my home was falling apart, but that child didn't want it to fall apart. So that child in me didn't want it to fall apart. So she's still till this day trying to do everything possible to mend those falling pieces back together, even though there's no way that's happening. And so there was a lot of me is operating from that place of not wanting things to fall apart. And so I recognize with a lot of work that I've been doing is instead of making myself feel better or to fix it or to heal it, now I've learned to go into it. I lean into the pain. I lean into the challenge. I lean into the suffering. I lean into the feeling of I don't want it to fall apart. I let it fall apart. I let myself fall apart. I let myself fully and completely fall apart. And interesting enough, every time I choose to just go in deeper to those experiences and feeling that I don't want to feel, that somehow those feelings dissipate. And that is the true freedom. That is the true healing. Because here's the thing, those feelings are always there, wanting your attention, wanting you to recognize it, wanting you to fully embrace it, wanting you to stop judging it, because all it needs is to experience itself. That's all it needs. But we keep resisting experiencing it. The more we resist experiencing it internally, it will continuously show up externally in our world to keep repeating that same pattern of, I don't want to experience, but it will keep showing it because it wants to experience itself. Just like I don't want to experience rejection. And you will always somehow feel that rejection from whether your loved ones or people you care about, your colleagues or your friends. How do you experience that? Is through maybe you're offering an advice and whatever they say. It could be, okay, that sounds good, but let's do this. Maybe that's all they say. You'll be like, see, you never listen to me. You see, you never take my advice like seriously. Or you'll be saying something, you feel like you are not heard. You whatever you say is only being rejected. You will always, if you don't feel it through fully and completely, you will always project that onto your spouse or your kid, your parents, your friends, and all that because it just wants to experience itself. Once you're done experiencing that fully and completely without judgment, that's when it go, okay, I've experienced myself. That's cool. I don't need it anymore. The more we resist and experiencing it, the more it's going to show up in your life, in all aspects of your life. So, anyways, I fully allow myself to fall apart fully and completely. And somehow, this is the question that came to me. I heard parents separated, no, divorced twice. And I was like, that's true. My parents got divorced twice. But I'm like, no, that's not true. My parents got divorced once, but they were separated twice because they officially divorced themselves the first time when I was a 4 or 5 year old. And then my mom came back to be with us again and then left again when I was about sixth grade. They came back to rescue us out from that dysfunctional family when I was sixth grade. But either way, my guides were asking me, what does it mean to you, divorce twice? And I said, divorce twice means to me that when things come together, it will fall apart again. So I cannot trust it. I cannot trust it when things come together because they will fall apart again. And imagine when you have that belief system or energetic programming in your system, is going to apply in many aspects of your life. With that awareness of that belief in my system, I realized, holy shit, that's true. I've experienced literally just like how my parents experienced when I was little. We moved to so many different places. We moved in and out of my parent-in-law's house because of financial situation over and over again, or certain things will come together for me and it won't work. And then so it's like, oh, things will come together, but then it will fall apart. Things will come together and it will fall apart. That has been the pattern. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's where I got it from. I'm so grateful that I'm taking the opportunity to really realize this thing that's been in me for so long, freaking 40 years. Actually, I'm turning 40 this year, but 30, 90, 30, 39, 40 years. And I was like, oh, wow. So let's feel through that, whatever that sadness may be, whatever that shame may be. And all of a sudden, I just see the family members in my life that will often either say certain things or have certain like facial expression or certain body language. You know what they're thinking. You perceive all that as shame, being in my position right now, not knowing where to go, being in a home that's not my home, where I should be grateful for, but I feel all these things and I'm just recognizing it all. And this is truly the part where I feel like I gain so much freedom from it is I recognize the shame that I projected onto certain family members. I will often use these family members to shame me, even though that may not be their intention to shame me at all. But I often perceive it that way because that's what a lot of us actually connect with on that level. I was just working on myself the other day. I don't remember what I was working on, but I think I was asking myself and realizing that why is it that I was preventing myself to create more of these video contents to put myself out there and put more videos on YouTube? And I noticed there was a fear of, oh, what if people ridicule me? I get ridiculed. And I realized underneath all that is the shame that I've been feeling. And for some reason, I got to the point to realize shame, this word shame, holy shit. Like 99.999% of all of us on the planet all are connected through this web of shame in one spectrum to another on some shape or form. We all communicate, perceive, operate, create, use that as a driving system from a place of shame. And we all have that in us, all of us. It's just a matter of to what extent and how aware we are about the shame that we have within ourselves. And I think shame is probably the hardest, one of the hardest emotions to spot, only because we have been shamed so much, whether it be culturally or by family or by peers, that this feeling feels so uncomfortable that every time we sense the feeling of shame, all we want to do is run away from it or cover it up or make it go away by being better, doing more. And so we never will allow ourselves to recognize this feeling of shame. However, if you really put a group of people together, no matter what age group, well, except for young children, they probably don't have that sense of shame yet. But no matter what they do, what race they're in, where they're from, if you they're all willing to open themselves up to openly talk about the things that they feel shameful, everybody on some level will have something to share about. A lot of us, a lot of us. And for some reason, when I realized that, oh my gosh, all of us all somehow connect on that level of shame. I don't know why, but somehow that normalized it, made me feel more okay because I feel like I'm not the only one. We all have that. It's just that we were never taught how to face it, how to be with it, how to recognize it, how to feel okay being with it, being it, feeling it. And what I went through this morning was exactly that. So I somehow, through the process of feeling through my sadness, grief, somehow shame came up. And I saw a lot of family members that I will often, when I look at them, I will associate them as them shaming me. And a lot of time I hated those feelings. So I would either cover it up with anger or judgments, or maybe I would go and do something else to make myself feel better, whatever that may be. But maybe today was just the day. I was like, no, I am going in. I'm going into the whole, like, infinite, unlimited hole of shame. I know the only way out of it is through. I know it because I've done it so much with a lot of my other emotions and negative traumas. I know all I need to do is to go through it. So I allow myself to go, you know what? All these family members who I perceive as shaming me, bring it up. Whatever that I think they're saying or thinking, or whatever I think they're feeling, bring up, shame me, yell at me, make me feel like a piece of shit. And I went into it. I let them shame me. I let myself be shamed fully and completely. I let myself feel like a piece of shit. I let myself feel like I'm useless. And there were so many like programmings of I accomplished nothing, and which in fact was one of my biggest fear was that I accomplished nothing at this age of my life. I feel like I should be here already. I should be there. I should have this already. How come I'm not there? And I constantly, consciously or unconsciously, was freaking out, operating from that place. And today I was like, let's accomplish nothing. Let's be nothing. Let's be nobody. Not telling you it's easy. It didn't feel easy, but I was willing to do so because I know for a fact that if I don't be with these feeling internally, if I continue to resist it, it will continuously show up in my external world. So today I was brave enough to go, let's give it to me, all of it. Whatever shame that I feel, I'm useless. I haven't accomplished anything. I am nothing. I am nobody. Let's do it. And I could feel that in me, those fears of I've accomplished nothing wasn't just my energy, wasn't just my belief system. It was also my mom's. It was also my dad's. That they feel like they accomplished nothing. Why? Because almost all of us measure accomplishing something by through financial success or career success, for being a certain status or being at a certain level in life, for how many people like you, how many followers you like. That's how we measure what it means to accomplish something. And anything that's falling outside of that box, outside of the measurement, even if you accomplish so many things, it almost seems like it's nothing. And I could feel that both of my parents energetically also feel the same way. So what I did was literally I held both of my parents with their hands and I said, let's accomplish nothing together. Energetically, spiritually, let's do it. I'm here with you. Let's do it together. Let's be nothing together. And we were just there being miserable with this fear, this shame of we have accomplished nothing. And somehow this memory pop up where my mom was telling me, huh, that's so embarrassing and shameful of me, huh? At this age that I'm still working, that I'm not retired yet, and I still have to worry about money. That's what my mom said to me one day. And somehow this memory came up to me. And I know when I work on myself, anything that comes to my mind, even though it may seem like it has nothing to do with anything, is a clue of something for me to look at and work through. And somehow when this memory show up, I just felt in me that I wanted to tell my mom energetically or spiritually. I said, Mom, do you realize you beat all the odds? Do you realize that you've accomplished so much? Do you realize that you've accomplished something amazing by raising two individuals who can feel the freedom to do what they feel like doing for their life? Do you know you've beat all the odds? That it is a big accomplishment that in that generation where divorce was not common and it was deemed as to be shameful, that even if you have a horrible marriage, you're not supposed to be divorced or else people will just shame you. But you did it anyways because it was so dysfunctional that you decided to be brave enough to protect yourself and your kids and raise two fucking kids by yourself and help them feel free to be who they are. Do you know how much, what a big deal that is? That you were the only one who went through divorce and no one else in your world at that time went through what you went through? And how lonely that could have been with no one to share the same comment with you? Even if you were to tell somebody that this is what you went through, this is how you felt. No one will fully understand that because no one will fully understand what anyone goes through unless they go through exactly the same thing. Did you know that was a lonely road, but you did it anyways? And as I was saying that to my mom energetically, and even now I feel emotional because it is a big deal. It is a big deal that we go against the norm of what people say you're supposed to do, but it's fucking dysfunctional for you. It's unhealthy for you. But because we're supposed to keep the face, we're supposed to not go through the shame. So let's keep this dysfunctional relationship going. Oh, fuck no. I'm so grateful that my mom gained her courage to do what was not commonly to be done in her generation, in Asian culture. That was hard. That was a lot of shame she had to go through, but she did it anyways. She raised 2 kids all by herself. I told her energetically, I said, "Mom, that's a big deal. You didn't not accomplish anything. You accomplished something amazing." And as I was saying that to her, I felt so emotional. And it could be my energy, it could be her energy, it could be the feeling of, I'm so grateful. It could be the feeling I'm finally receiving the love from her. That this great love that I was not ready to fully understand up to this point of my life. And now I'm seeing it at a grander scale of how incredible my mom actually is. And it's so interesting that as I was telling her that, I've also noticed like another woman in my life, shame was also dissipating and leaving. I'm literally just healing the ancestral generation of shame through me working on myself. And it's so interesting as I was recognizing my mom's accomplishments through recognizing, owning the shame, and also owning these greatness that she is, that it helps heal other parts of womanhood in my life. And it was a very beautiful feeling to experience. And after that, what was interesting was I felt like was helping to heal the lineage of shame through the conversation with my mom and my own shame. And then what was next was quite powerful for me as well. Was after I held my parents' hands together to be shameful together, after I processed through my mom's shame, I all of a sudden just felt empty. Like as if like, oh, all the processing or healing kind of stopped. Like I had my eyes closed, but nothing was really going on internally. I just felt I was alone, but not lonely, just alone. And I didn't try to force anything to happen. I just thought, okay, let me just be with this emptiness and aloneness and see what comes up or if anything comes up. And it's very interesting. I just saw a kind of a blob image of, I don't know, cartoon like image, what we most people will perceive as ugliness, flappy, just like slob. And I just saw this shape kind of like boom boom, like big shape. And I'm like, huh, that's me. That's my shame of my body, that body image shame that I have for myself. That's how I perceive myself to be. And I know most of the time, and sometimes I would do that too. Most of the time, I would do that too. Was when I recognize, oh, this is how I perceive myself as like not pretty, ugly, or big. Like I would go, oh, but I love you. It's okay. that's the normal way to do it, right? Or at least that's what it's being encouraged to do most of the time. And I had the tendency to do that, to go, oh, you're my blob. And I love you. I was going to say that, but it didn't feel right. And I was like, what's true to me right now when I see this blob? And all I wanted to say, all I genuinely felt when I look at this blob was, I see you. 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 And when I say I see you, I meant it. I see you exactly as the way you are. I see you as the shame you are. I see you as the blob you are. And you're perfect. And I don't want to change it. And I love it. All I wanted to say to my shame was, I see you. And what came out of it? I saw my blob being so happy. So happy, as in a way, like, I don't have to be anything else. I don't have to be another shape. I don't have to be somebody else. I can just be, and I can still be seen being me. Yes, I see you. It was the first time I think I feel so happy to be shamed, which is very interesting. And what's very interesting after was, and keep in mind, throughout this whole process, I'm just allowing. I'm not judging. I'm not forcing. I'm literally just observing and allowing. So what came next was, I heard, I am shame. I am shame. I am shame. And I thought, I've heard of Wayne Dyer, I've heard of Matthias. They've said the very two powerful word I is the words I am. And whatever you put after I am is very important. At least that's what I've learned. And so I'm like, I am shamed. Like, should I like resist that? Should I like change that? But I'm like, no, you know what? I'm just gonna allow it. I'm just gonna allow it. Because whatever you have resistance to, it persists. So instead of wanting to change it, shift it, I just allow and be with it. I go, okay, whatever was coming to me was, I am shame. Then I go, let's be shame. I am shame. I am shame. And I would just keep going, and I would just allow it for as long as it needed to. And as it was going, I am shame, I all of a sudden just heard, I am shame, and it's okay. I am shame, and it's okay. I am shame, and it's okay. And that really made me feel, oh yeah, it's okay. That's totally cool. Like, it's totally cool. I'm okay. It's okay. I'm okay. And here's the interesting part. After I heard I am shame, then I am shame, it's okay, I heard I am light. And I go, yeah, I know. Every time I work through something, like as I allow myself to work through and feel through the negative part of it, the positive part of it will always just come through. But what was interesting was, when I heard I am light, I could feel my resistance to it. I go, oh my gosh, shouldn't light be a good thing? Why am I resistant being light? And I could feel I wanted to run away. And I go, let's be with it. Let's be with it. As it goes, I am light and I want to run away. I am light and I want to run away. Then I heard, I am light, I am shame, and it's okay. I am light, I am shame, and it's okay. And what it reminded me of was that Have you ever experienced that you're actually shining a light, but other people who are not really living their light, they make you feel like you shouldn't be shining your light so bright? I think we all have experienced that on some level, some degree. Like, it's almost like, oh, I can't be too happy because other people may not be as happy. So I need to shrink myself a little bit and not be as happy so other people won't be envious or jealous. So I won't hurt other people's feelings. Even being light has shame in it. And I was not fully aware of that until the words, I am light, came to me. And I felt the resistance to it to realize, oh, wow, even in light, being light, there's shame, but it's okay. Because previously was I am shame and it's okay. And I really, really felt that. I really felt that. And now I am light, but I didn't feel okay. But at the same time, there's shame in it. And I'm okay with shame. So that means even if I feel shameful sometimes to be light, it's okay. And somehow I'm being reminded of the yin yang symbol where there's a white dot in the dark side, there's the black dot in the right side. Imagine the darkness of shame. There's also some light. In the lightness, there's also some shame. And we're all of it. We're not just one or the other. We're all of it. And when we're fully able to embrace all of it, that's when we feel true power and true freedom, when we're not being bound to one or the other, when we're not trying to run away from the dark and wanting to attach ourselves to the light and feel like we're suffering when we're not here, but we're here. It's being okay with both the yin and yang, dark and the light, and go, we're in both. We are both. We are powerful. At the same time, we can feel shameful. And that's okay. It's okay. It's only when we start to be okay with the shame that we feel internally that it has no more power over us. It's only when we feel like it's not okay that we always operate from the place of, I shouldn't feel that. Let me do anything possible to not feel that. Then we'll always operate from a place to not feel that instead of feeling like, oh, I can live freely and not just care about how to cover up my shame. When you're okay with shame being there, it's not darkness anymore. It's a balance, it's a friend, it's a being. And we're all that is. It's power. When we're really able to embrace, accept, love, forgive, and really, really receive all parts of us, especially that part of us that's the darkest, that's the place that we hate the most, we want to run away from the most. That's when we'll be fully free, when we're able to embrace all of who we are. And this is why, even after the spiritual surgery, I really felt like I went through a surgery because I literally, it's not a physical exhaustion. I just feel so like, oh, I went through so much. Like, I really dug out so much. I carried so much. And I pulled out so much. And I didn't know how long I was actually carrying that for. Maybe my whole entire life. Imagine, just imagine you've been carrying 4,000 pounds of rock on your shoulder, and one day you just finally you don't have to carry it anymore. You've been walking with 4,000 pounds of baggage. Now you don't have to carry it anymore. You'll feel some adjustment. You'll feel like, oh, I've been walking my whole entire life with that much weight on me. It's some adjustment, some recovery to do for me at least. And so I wanted to show up here to share a very, very powerful moment for me and hope as a service to you, whether it be a reminder, whether it be a reflection, whether it be a possibility, whether it be reflecting and offering us up opportunity, a possibility to go when we fully allow ourselves to look at the parts of ourselves that we don't want to look at. That's when we'll be fully free. Honestly, afterwards, I had a little conversation with my guides and some celestial beings. They actually have been communicating with me for quite some times now. And for the past few weeks, they have been telling me I have a mission to do. I'm almost ready for this mission. And, back then, like a few weeks ago, I'm like, oh, a mission, like, mission, what am I gonna do? Travel around the world and talk to people and change people's life and blah, blah. Like I had all these expectations of what that mission is supposed to be. And then like today, after working through all that, they said, you did it. No, no, no. This is what they say. They say, congratulations, you've died successfully. And I was like laughing out loud when they said that because it's technically true. Like that part of me was living as shame, operating from shame, and have been living for shame, literally died today. And it's funny that they said, congratulations, you've died successfully. And then another guy or celestial being came to talk to me and said, you did it. I said, did what? They say, your mission. I was like, what? Like, that's it? And I felt so disappointed because when they told me I have a mission, I literally attached so many different expectations, a definition of what that mission is supposed to be like. And they said, I did it. I did my mission. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, that was fucking hard work, but I was expecting something else to be my mission. But this is the interesting part, though, as I was also allowing myself to feel disappointed and like, oh, that's just my mission. I thought it was something more lavish or extravagant. But anyways, and I was like, okay, okay, that's my mission. But that was my mission. I realized that this whole time I had been putting the mission as changing the world by changing, helping people shift and heal. I thought that was the mission. But today, after I worked through my deep, deep, deep shit and shame, they told me I did it. I did my mission. And for the first time in my life, that I'm realizing, fully integrating this thought that I am my mission. I am my mission. But isn't it true though? Whenever we heal ourselves, whenever we fully are there to support and heal ourselves, to transform those parts of us that have been lingering, being trapped for a long time, whenever we free a version of ourselves, aren't we energetically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, creating a beautiful positive ripple effect around the world? Are we doing that? Isn't it always starting from us? Isn't that when we change, the way we see things and the people around us change? And when we see way we see things change, our external world shift as we shift, and the way we interact with other people start to change and shift. We become more calm, we see things from a different point of view, we're no longer triggered by the same thing that used to trigger us. And the person that get triggered because of our triggers, like, oh, there's no more trigger, so I'm like, oh, I guess it's not that big of a deal then. Aren't we our own mission? And by we focusing on ourselves, aren't we changing the world one by one step at a time, one healing at a time, starting from us? And I'm still processing through this. Honestly, it just happened this morning. And I'm still integrating. I'm still learning. And I feel like there's still more unfolding. But I can tell you this, after I went through what I went through, I feel the calm that I haven't felt in a long, long time. I feel true detachment. It's not a forceful one. Like, oh, I shouldn't be attached to that. It's a true detachment of, I feel like I am showing up differently, not from a place of, I want people to see me, but from a place of, I simply just want to share this. And whoever see it, cool. whoever don't see it, cool. I'm learning this new me. And I just really love what I'd experienced. And I just wanted to put it out there for people who may be resonating it, or for people who may feel ready to receive the next level of healing for themselves and wasn't sure which direction to go. Maybe this is kind of the tipping direction of it. However, this video may be serving you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be one of the reflection for you, um, one of the storytellers, one of the voices for you to help you realize, remember the truest version of yourself. And I'm grateful for you. And I thank you for being here. And I see you. And I love you. If you like what you hear from this episode, remember to like, share, and subscribe or follow this podcast.